Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the start line by co-host of a true crime podcast. One, a TV producer and true crime victim. The other, a podcaster who has doled out love advice. Put them together and you have the podcast Betrayal. We welcome Jennifer Faison and Andrea Gunning.
Hi, I love that intro.
Yeah.
Friends, let's go beyond the mic. Betrayal is a story I wish you didn't have to live through, Jennifer. After the initial stun and hurt, why was it important to tell your story?
I had to get it out. When all of this stuff is going on in your head and you can't understand it, for me, I just started writing, and that was my outlet. And as I shared the story more and became this detective, looking for all this stuff and trying to figure out all these answers. So that's just really how it started. And then, podcast is such a great medium for this type of story, I think, right now, because you can really explore it and take your time with it. So, yeah, I think we're all really proud of it.
Andrea, as you begin to unravel this layered story, how do you figure out the best way to lay it out to make fans say, I want more? Finish it up. I want more.
Well, I think it was really just coming from a place of where Jen was, which was trying to understand the person she married and really try to understand her marriage and what happened to her and how it all, fell apart. And so, every episode is really starting from this place of trying to understand who he was, who her husband Spencer was, and also how, she's going to grow and learn something from the process. I mean, Spencer was arrested for sexually assaulting one of his own high school students. And through that process of him being arrested, Jen realized that he had had dozens and dozens and dozens of affairs and was unfaithful to her every day of their marriage. And so that's such a colossal thing to understand and unpack. And so she was left wondering, who did I marry? And so we really approached every episode of, each person she talks to is going to provide some detail to kind of understand what she lived through and who he was and what that means for her today.
Jennifer, your husband is presently serving 6 concurrent sentences for his crimes of sexual assault. Do you feel by telling your story, you're freeing yourself from a prison of his making?
Absolutely. That is, yes.
Yeah.
You're right. Because, as we've been finishing this all up, I literally feel like I've been packing up this box with all this stuff. And now it's sealed and I am maybe throw it out, maybe throw it in the back of the closet. But it's been incredibly healing and cathartic.
Andrea, you struggled during the pandemic. Quote, you don't know what it's like to live alone, unquote. How did working on this story help you refocus what love is to you?
That's such a hard question, Sean. Oh my God. I think it's not necessarily about love. I think it's about trust. And, I often think about Jen and whether or not she can trust and love again. And I know she can. Just because this person hurt her doesn't mean she can't find new opportunities that are out there and experience that all over again. And so that gives me hope. So I think even though this happened to her, I learned a really interesting thing about hope. And I think that that's probably my answer.
Friends, it's time for the Rocky Nade. 8 random questions. Answer with the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
We'll alternate questions, Jennifer, then Andrea. There is no pressure. Jennifer, favorite flower?
Tulip.
Andrea, best TV series to binge?
Succession.
Jennifer, do you keep a budget?
No.
Andrea, name a person you would like to walk a mile in your shoes.
Oh, man. Spencer Herron. Jen's ex-husband.
Wow. Jennifer, are you afraid of spiders?
No, not spiders.
What are you afraid of?
Snakes.
I think we're all afraid of that.
Yeah.
Andrea, favorite season of the year?
Summer.
Jennifer, would you rather ride in a motorcycle or a helicopter?
Helicopter.
Andrea, favorite breakfast item?
Pork roll.
It's time for One Big Question with co-host of the true crime podcast Betrayed Beyond the Mic. Jennifer, after you've undergone this ordeal, how do you learn to trust again?
I think I have to trust myself that I will do the due diligence, when I meet someone. And I have faith in humanity. I don't think most people can live a double life like that, or deceive or manipulate like that. So I'm excited, about the future. And I'm just going to take it one step at a time.
Andrea, as this story unfolds, what will people be surprised to hear?
Jen sits down and talks to women that her husband had affairs with. And I don't think that that's ever been done before. For one woman to sit down with another woman, had a relationship with her own husband, and sit there with, empathy and understanding is so compelling. And I think the audience will really resonate with that. What do you think, Jen?
No, exactly. That's exactly what I think. It's instead of, I could have so much hatred and animosity toward so many of these women that were adults and they got to make that choice. But talking with them and hearing about how they still are living with the shame, even after 4 years, I think it did something for both of us. I think we came together and we both realized in different ways we were victims of this person. And so there was just a little more understanding after that.
Jennifer, how hard was it to talk to your ex-husband for this project?
I told him about it back in 2019. He agreed to an interview. I think as it started to get more and more real, I think he thought I was just like recording this podcast in my basement that only I was going to listen to. I don't think he understood, the magnitude of this. So,
but the audience will still get to hear from him. And
yes.
That's our final episode. And I think, you asked what can people look forward to, and he does share some of his side of the story. So,
Andrea, how powerful is podcasting for you?
I've been working in podcasting since 2018, 2019, and it's just become the love of my life. And so it's such an intimate medium. You're right there with the audience in their ears and their minds. And it's just become one of my favorite things to do. So it's pretty powerful to me.
You need to hear this story. You won't believe it if you don't hear it. The podcast is Betrayal and available on all platforms. Jennifer Faison, Andrea Gunning, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thanks, Sean.
And that, my friends, is a Beyond the Mic shortcut.